Hey, if you wanted to hear what Frank Garay with the Mortgage Loan Officer podcast has to say today, then you're listening to the right episode of the Loan Officer Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, Steve Kiles. We are powered by the Mortgage Marketing Animals, and I am beyond excited for my guest today. And he's not a guest. He's not even a stranger to the podcast. It's Frank Garay. What's up, baby?
What's going on, brother? Good to be here, man. How are you?
It's just another great afternoon of Steve saying, Frank, what are you doing? Hey, Steve, nothing. Hey, you want to record a podcast? Yeah, let's do it.
Totally.
Let's do it. And well, man, I'm excited to have you on the podcast. Hey, and I don't know if people have been paying attention, but man, the Mortgage Loan Officer podcast, you're crushing the podcast game. I love what you're doing. You're such a great interviewer, even with what you're doing with the Loan Officer Breakfast Club, man. A lot of good stuff's happening.
Crazy, insane stuff, man. Well, the podcast, I, of course, coming from the background of the National Real Estate Post, doing it as a video blog, that was one thing. But to enter into the world of traditional podcasting, which is more on the lines of your Spotify or your iTunes or whatever the case that might be, that was a new experience for me and kind of different. So it's been really cool, in all honesty, to follow you and Carl and your lead on how to get that done. And, of course, to have the backing of the marketing animals to make sure that it's getting out there in the proper way, but to see the numbers going up the way they're going, it's like, wow, this is really cool. Yeah. It's a really neat thing. It's exciting to be a part of something new and something that's growing. And that goes in line with Loan Officer Breakfast Club, like you're bringing up. I mean, gee whiz, we passed over 11,000 people on Loan Officer Breakfast Club in just over a year. Pretty remarkable. Wow. I'm blown away by that. I'm like super happy about it. And I know it's providing a lot of really great value out there to the originator community. Here's the thing that I've been saying too, Steve, is when you think about Loan Officer Breakfast Club, it's a gift, man. It's such an amazing gift given by Carl White and the marketing animals to the origination space, because where can you get every day, brother? Let's tune in for free, free, no cost, to extremely high quality coaching as a mortgage originator, Monday through Thursday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time to 9 Eastern time, totally free. LoanOfficerBreakfastClub.com. Where are you going to get that? Plus, look at the results we're seeing there. We've got people there, Steve, who have been in the business for 3 months. Yeah. And people that have been in business 40 years.
Literally, hey, that example was literally this morning. It was people raise their hand because there's always a section where you say, hey, let's share the wins. Yeah. And you've got literally hundreds of loan officers from all over the country, right? All walks of life, whether they're new, old, first few months in the business or 20, 30 years in the business. And this morning was a great example. They're sharing literally the same success stories.
Right. Isn't that interesting?
Man,
isn't it interesting?
Well, because you know what it goes back to? There's no silver bullet. It is doing the right activity consistently over time. And it's about the right activity that has proven results. So it's not like, hey, let's see if this works, but hey, how about we do what works and what's proven to work?
Exactly. And what's been so exciting to see is when originators, whether they're new or experienced, when they go, okay, I'm going to do this, and then they're
finally buckle down and do this.
Yeah. And then when they come back and 2 weeks later, they're so excited to share their win. It's like, I can't believe it. This is working. It's like, I'm getting appointments and I'm getting deals. And, a whale sat down with me and said, you're getting my next deal, or I got a deal from a whale, whatever the case may be. But it's like so fun to sit and watch. And I think that's why everybody gets so much out of it. It'd be one thing, Steve, if it was you, me, and Carl that sat there as the talking heads and just said, do this, do that, do this. But it's an entirely different thing when we've got, like you said, hundreds of originators on the call, every call, and they're chiming and saying, check it out. This worked. I did what you said and it worked. I made my calls and I got the appointment. I made my follow-ups and I got the deal. That's an entirely different ball game there. When you're hearing it from your peers, saying this is what I did and this is what happened. Now it becomes something real, right? It's not just a bunch of talking heads saying you should do this or do that. That's pretty boring, right?
Yeah. Well, and you know what it is? It's the framework of how many times, and me too, in my career, it was like, man, if I knew what to do, then I would just go do it. And what's so cool is there's a framework of what's been working. So it's a plan. And I heard Carl say this a couple of weeks ago. It's a 4-part simple plan. Here it is: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
Right.
Thursday.
Right.
And it's a 4PSP. And so it's like, okay, well, which day am I going to implement first? Monday.
Right.
Am I going to go after my agent partners? Am I going to tackle Tuesday who's currently in the pipeline, or am I going to do Wednesday database or Thursday pre-approved and looking? And it's just a framework. And in working inside of the structure, now it just takes, it's like working out, man. If I got the equipment, I just got to show up every day and do it. I was literally talking to a guy a few minutes ago, Frank, and you know what he said? He's out of California, your neck of the woods. And he said, what has been so cool and what I've been missing is the accountability. And showing up on the Breakfast Club has been a point of accountability to him.
It is.
And he just joined the Mortgage Marketing Animals literally yesterday. And he said, man, it's what I've been missing. It's the camaraderie of, dude, today was no good. It sucked. And then some days it's like, dude, we hit home runs.
Right. It's like we talk about on Breakfast Club sometimes, especially today, Steve. So many mortgage companies, and I think this is really cool. It doesn't really matter where you're located anymore, right? We can work remotely as originators. There really is no real big reason to have brick and mortar these days. There really isn't. Some people just like it, really prefer it. That's all good. But I'm just saying there's a lot of originators that are working with companies today where they're remote, right? They're out on their own somewhere. They're not necessarily in an office environment or group environment, something like that. That's why Breakfast Club is so cool, because now we're coming together. And even beyond that, even beyond Breakfast Club, we go to MMA Call Stars, right? If you want to get even deeper, we've got MMA Call Stars going on, which is like, stepping it up a level from Breakfast Club.
Hey, hold on. Before we go,
go ahead.
If you're interested in learning more about MMA Call Stars, so it's for our membership in the Marketing Animals, but literally there's 2 times a day where they're doing the accountability group calls, making outbound calls, celebrating the win. Go to freedomplanningcall.com. Fill out a couple pieces of information, jump on a free call with our team. We'd love to share more about how we're helping people win with accountability at freedomplanningcall.com. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, since you can engage with Loan Officer Breakfast Club, or even better, engage with MMA Call Stars, now you're not all alone on the island, sitting in your kitchen, going, I got to do something.
What do I say? Who do I
really
call?
Should do something, but there is reruns of Gilligan's Island on right now. I just watch it for a second, You know what I mean? But if we've got the accountability that we can tap into, where we're with a bunch of like-minded professionals, go-getters, trying to get this done, doing this thing as an actual career, it makes a big, big difference to everybody. And that's what people are experiencing. And that's what they're saying anyway on Breakfast Club every morning.
Frank, and you and I both talked to him. Actually, you really pointed him out to me a couple of weeks ago, probably a couple of months ago, but Skylar Wallace, we just did a podcast released last week's podcast. And man, he is such an example of, there's really 2 camps. There's a camp of people that are saying, oh, the sky's falling. I don't know what I'm going to do, and I might have to go get another job. And there's another camp that says, look, it's a great year of opportunity if we'll stay focused on what really matters. Last month, he closed 68 units, and this month will mirror that kind of result. And listen to this.
Unbelievable.
Last year, he averaged 39 units a month. So from him to go not only increase, but shoot nearly double his production in a year that is quote unquote a down year and a quote unquote down market. I just think it's so much proof. He joined us here this last year, and it has brought so much clarity to his business, because what happens is there's not a lot of direction in the mortgage game. It's go get leads, figure out how to close them, and hopefully you get them all the way through the pipeline. And and that's a tough place to be. But when you've got the clarity of, wow, this works, here's what to do, here's what to say, here's who I'm calling on a daily basis, and a couple hours a day, that's what matters.
That's what matters. Yeah. His name's Skylar Wallace. He's everywhere right now. My podcast, your podcast. I think Carl did a podcast with him. I don't know, but he's all over the place.
To say, man.
Well, dude, I was on with Kevin Gillespie today on the Branch Managers University or whatever. I can't remember what his organization is, but we were on there. I was the guest, and guess what we talked about? Skylar Wallace.
It's because he's doing a great job.
He's killing it. And it is.
Yeah.
And think about that, what you just said, man. Like he's closing 70 something, right around 70 deals a month right now.
Yeah,
Where last year he was doing about 40 deals.
39.
But pretty remarkable. And again, it comes back to what? Well, he's plugged into us. He's on Breakfast Club. He's found the plan. He has the daily success plan. He rebranded it, which is brilliant. Now everybody's doing that because he led the way in that, which is a really cool idea. But rebranded, just called it something else. But it is the daily success plan. And just remarkable things are happening. Great things happen when you got a plan. That's even better when you execute it.
There you go. There you go. And hey, you may be listening today and you say, I don't have a plan. Well, good news.
We do.
We got a plan. Just plug in. So
that's it. That's it. Just plug into the plan, man. Yeah. So really good stuff. I'm stoked so far for what I'm seeing this year, at least out of our crew, Steve, out of our guys, out of the Breakfast Club, Animals, Freedom Club, our branch, you name it, everybody's just really firing on all cylinders. And it's just because everybody's, taken the daily success plan to heart and has decided, I'm going to actually do this and not think about it. I'm just going to do this. And the results are just, they speak for themselves, after it's all said and done.
Hey, and if you're listening, you want to learn more about the Daily Success Plan, go to freedomplanningcall.com, book a call. We'd love to chat with you. Hey, also, we have something coming up. We're not going to say what month it is because we do it every other month, but
sure.
Frank is going to be with us at our next 2-day boot camp. If you go to mastermindretreats.com, you can always see when our next 2-day boot camp is coming up. And so I'm excited because you're going to be at the next one. I know you're at the Freedom Club events, and then you try to make these 2-day boot camps as you can. But man, talk a minute about the boot camp and why it's important for, if you're listening and you say, I need a shot in the arm, I need to really understand what I can do each and every day to have great success. And you go to mastermindretreats.com, but tell us a little bit about the 2-day boot camp.
Well, here's the thing about the 2-day that you're going to love. Not only you're going to get what Steve just said, right? You're going to get the daily success plan, with the fire hose.
It would take 6 to 9 months to literally consume. You're going to do it in 2 days.
2 days.
And then whiteboard you. Yeah.
And then the whiteboard is so cool because we get all the information, we process all that, then we get with other people that are there, we huddle up, we get on a whiteboard and we figure out what we got to do when we get back to the office on Monday, right? Or get back to our kitchen office, whatever it may be, but we know exactly what we got to do. And here's why I really like the boot camps as well, bro, is because, well, you take, for example, like Loan Officer Breakfast Club. It's totally cool that we're all together on a Zoom and we are together and we get that sensibility of having a community, that type of thing, or MMA Call Stars. But still, when you actually physically go to an event and you're sitting next to and immersed in this whole thing, right? And you're sitting next to these great originators or people that are just like you, that are there, but you're immersed in it all. It's physical. You're there. There's speakers. You're note taking. There's a lot more to it when you get a lot out of that. You really walk away from that
lunch and dinner with other like-minded people who are there.
Exactly. And then when you walk out of that like, oh my God, you are on fire when you walk out of those events. And it's because you were immersed in it. It wasn't just a 30-minute Zoom call or something like that. It's 2 days of you being immersed in becoming wildly successful with a proven plan that works 100% of the time if you just implement it. So I can't encourage it enough. That's why I like to go to them because it's so amazing. And the people are so great. Come on, man. Come on, Steve. Marketing Animals staff and the team running the show and just the way it's laid out and it's just so well done. And it's just all just so conducive for learning, so conducive for absorbing information. It just doesn't get any better. They put on the best dang events that are out there. Yeah. They really are. The thing I love about Marketing Animals, I know I'm rambling, but the thing I love about Marketing Animals is when it comes to coaching, and there's a lot of different types of coaching out there. And I know there is, and I'm not going to say, anything's not good or whatever. Everything's good, right? But the thing I love about Marketing Animals, it is nuts and bolts. This is what I do today, right? This is what I say. This is when I say it. This is how I overcome this objection. It's like down and dirty. Let's get to work coaching. You know what I mean? And I know we need the inspiration. We need the you are good enough. And we offer that, right? That happens. Carl tells us that all the time. You are worthy, of making $1 million a year. But what I love about animals, and I'll shut up, is just, it's really nuts and bolts, man. We get down to the nuts and bolts of how to get the business in the door. And that's, at the end of the day, I think that's what everybody's after, right?
Yeah. Well, and then how to keep it, and then building structure and teams.
Yeah.
And it's such a cool group. And if you're interested in learning more about our 2-day boot camps, it's designed for our members. But then we open up a handful of spots for people that are not members to come and just experience a 2-day boot camp. And so it's at mastermindretreats.com. You're always welcome to check that out. And Frank, I just love you to death, man. I wanted us to jump on a quick call. Give us some closing thoughts before we wrap up. I'm sitting here listening. I've been a part of just hearing the podcast for the last 4 to 6 months. What do I need to do? Like, give me some encouragement. Give me some closing thoughts.
I would just say this, man, and I have an opportunity too, Steve. I talk to a lot of originators throughout the week, right? So I do have my finger on the pulse of what's kind of the vibe out there with a lot of guys, and of course with Breakfast Club, we get a lot of that as well. But I will go to the extreme of not so much the nuts and bolts, but the cerebral, kind of thought here, which is you're totally worthy of wild success. You're absolutely 100% completely worthy of wild success. You are just as good, or if you get on our plan, even better than the rest that are out there, without a doubt, right? People, referral partners, if you're working the daily success plan, if you're working that, your referral partners are lucky and blessed to be working with you, right? Because you are going to make sure that things get done the correct way. You are going to be digging for new referrals out of the existing business. You've got to hand back to your referral partners, right? You're absolutely 100% worthy of all the success in the world. Don't let anybody tell you differently. Don't tell yourself any differently. You can do this. You just got to get on board with the plan, right? That's what you got to do. So that's my parting words, Steve.
Period on that. Great job, bro. Hey, well, listen, if you're listening today, you want to learn more about the mortgage marketing animals, go to freedomplanningcall.com, fill out a couple of pieces of info. We would love to invest 45 minutes with you and show you a plan and even what to do today to allow this to be one of the best fourth quarter finishes of your career. And so, hey, also listen, if you're listening and you haven't hit the subscribe button, hit the subscribe, share this with 2 other LOs that would benefit from these words and from what we're really just sharing through the podcast. And the last thing is, if you would definitely give us a review, it absolutely helps us in the ranking. We love hearing your thoughts and what this podcast is doing to help you in your career. With that, from Frank Garay, Steve Kiles, we are grateful to have you on this journey. And remember this, anything worth doing is worth doing badly. Just get started. See you.
Late.